Okay.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Meeting to order.
Mayor Eli Seeley, Sarah Hankinson, here. Matt Bickett,
Here.
David Bullis, here. Will Rolke,
Here.
Larry Rohr,
Here.
Mike Tiedemann.
Here. I've got the agenda in front of me.
Oh, sorry, adopt agenda.
Motion to adopt the agenda or any changes first? Motion to adopt the agenda. Motion and a second to adopt the agenda. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Agenda is adopted. Minutes from our previous meeting. Motion to adopt the minutes from November 17th, 2025 meeting.
Second.
Motion and second to adopt the minutes of the meeting. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes from November 17th adopted. Just in time for mayoral recognition. We recognize the mayor has arrived.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. I sent a couple of folks a quick note, just said I might be a few minutes late. They're holding a Missouri Valley Critical Incident Stress Debriefing Team is holding a meeting with all of the folks that were involved in the incident from last week, currently down at the fire station. So they're in the midst of that. Wanted to be part of that. So I don't have anybody to formally recognize today. Miss Marcia Nelson is going to come to our next meeting, and we're going to give her some accolades for the great work that she did to host the community Thanksgiving. I believe next line item on the agenda is yeah. Let the bell be set. Thank you. You got vision from too. Before I give Izzy the floor, one of the things that Isabel and I have been doing, correct me if I'm misstating that, please. We've been talking a little bit about communication because one of the functions that one of the ways that I saw her role providing a benefit to us as the council and our ability to lead in the community is understanding communication with perhaps a community that we don't talk with very often. We do see folks from the school system fairly regularly, but we're not sure if our message is getting through. We know that we push a lot of great information out, but at the same time, we know there's always room for improvement in enhancing communication. So one of the things, and we know that folks in the high school system, middle school, and elementary school communicate slightly differently than we do when we're in our third, fourth, fifth decades of life. And Izzy and I talked a little bit about it, and I think she did craft an article that we submitted in the paper, short article, but I outlined the fact that we were going to talk about communication. So, Izzy, I don't know if you had anything specific. I did plant a couple of questions with her earlier today. One thing I did want her to cover is when we're considering how to communicate with the crowd that she leads as a member of student council and as an academic and an extra person involved in several extracurricular activities. What are some of the mediums, or what are some of the ways that we can better communicate with?
The main platform I thought of was Instagram, because I am sure most, if not all, members of my class, of the junior class, have Instagram. If they have a phone, they have Instagram. And it might be beneficial because I don't think a lot of kids my age have Facebook. And if they do, they don't go on it. I think I may be one of the few exceptions because I like looking at Facebook Marketplace. But I feel like Facebook isn't a very efficient way to communicate with the members of my generation. So I was thinking having a City of Beresford Instagram might be more beneficial because members of younger generations will most likely follow that. And if they don't, I'm sure your friends will consent to or might have to follow it. And another platform I considered was TikTok, but I don't know how successful short form content would be in a in a scenario like a city council, like I don't know what would be posted on it. I don't know how we would communicate. So I don't really know about TikTok, but I think Instagram might be a great decision for the city council to have. But it might take a little bit to get going, make sure all of the young kids follow that account and make sure they check it regularly.
Yeah.
And then your second question, Eli, was about how the city can best listen to the youth perspectives.
Yeah.
And the first thing that came to my mind was to ask student organizations like National Honor Society or the Student Council what they need most. And we can take that into account in how the city council best affects that as well. I don't know how that will look, but I just thought that might be a great idea. And this is a question for you. How many of you go to basketball games or volleyball games? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So most of you. So another idea that I had was to attend the students' events to see what needs are or what their needs are in the community. So I also don't know how that would play out, and I would need to discuss with Mayor City about that. And the third point I have is to, if a situation does get brought up by a member of my generation, I just encourage everyone that's not of my age group to be understanding. And Eli, you might get this, but as much as kids say like 6, 7, or skipping or Riz or something like that, members of my generation do have great opinions sometimes. And I would just encourage everybody to be understanding because sometimes our problems are not problems per se, but sometimes our needs are necessary too, and not just the needs of the city. So yeah, that is really all I have. Yeah, if you have any questions, ask me 2 weeks from now.
Yeah, great points, Izzy. You know, and I think that last perspective, which is that we shouldn't discount someone's opinion just because they happen to be a 15 or 16-year-old. A lot of great ideas have come in history through the lens of someone looking at a problem from a different perspective. And so, just for perspective, how many of you have an active Instagram account? Yes, Jason, are you an Instagrammer? Yep, 1, 2, okay.
Yeah, and I would like to point that out.
Yeah.
As many of you don't have active Instagram accounts, many of my generation don't have active Facebook accounts. So it goes both ways.
But I think one way to potentially connect the dots is, and I think certain platforms are going to probably, and like you mentioned, TikTok, short form video, because of course my in-home communications consultant, my wife, when I asked her questions, I said, well, what about TikTok? She said, Facebook has Reels. And I think there's a perspective or there's a way for us to potentially use Reels and or Instagram Reels or stories, because there's a couple different mediums there that we can use. For the longest time, I really felt like Instagram was just a way to visually see what's going on. Great images, great ways to enhance images, but it's actually more than that. And so that's a great perspective. So, any other thoughts from council? As a person who's involved in communication at a very, very high level for years and years and years,
my main thought is you can't force people to like something that you want them to like, and get it. I think one of the most effective ways is to make sure that whatever information that you have, this kind of library of public information, is that it's stored in one place, that it's all accessible in one place. And sometimes your job is just to let people know it's there. You can redistribute on various platforms. That can get complicated, but something as simple as a QR code along with publishing a web address, then people will know where it's at. And if through conversation they feel that it's something they need to be plugged into, they know where to find it.
Yeah, and I totally agree with that. You can't force somebody to do something that you want them to do, but having that resource like the Instagram page be available will be very useful to students of my generation, as they can, if they're wondering if something's going on in the city, they can always check the Instagram account, or if they have a Facebook account, they can check the Facebook account.
I think there's an option that when you post it on Instagram, it asks you if you want to also post it on Facebook.
Yeah, they're all part of the metaverse.
Yeah.
And so, there's a way to connect your social media so that you can push a button. In some of the research that I've done reference communication, that was a common theme, which is link back to a common source. And actually in the communication results in the survey, so I sent a survey out through Facebook, or Izzy, I'll send it out. I'll find a way to get it out by Instagram, but great results thus far. Already 55 responses as of this afternoon, only being out for roughly 48 hours. And so, but as I was doing some research about how to best take action against these results, one of the things that was a common theme is have all the communication consistent in a singular source and then refer back to that. So I think we do a pretty good job of that now. So I know Elaine does a great job with our city's Facebook site, and I know you've got members of your team that help with that too, right? Yeah.
There was an NPR story that got my ear, and it was last Wednesday or Friday or something. And in fact, I just copied you, Elaine, and Mayor Seeley on the audio story. It's a small town in Colorado. Was trying to, how do you get the public to generate interest? And they came up with a different way to map out the community and make it easy for people to say, well, at this intersection, this is a problem, or why don't we do this here? And it was more interactive, and it's just an audio story, but it might be an idea starter too, and you have it in your inbox now.
Awesome. All right. Any additional questions, comments? All right. Thanks, Isabel. Appreciate that very much. All right. Item number 7 on the agenda, committee mayor report. Nothing formal here. I did, and well, I don't know if we added this to the agenda or not. You'll have to forgive me if it's out of position. But one of the things that several of the members of our council and members of our community have become aware of is that a young man lost his life recently. A young man named Camden Meester. He goes by Cam. Cam was 14 years old, lives near Hudson, but goes to school in Beresford. He's an 8th grader, very active in sports. He was on my baseball team a couple years ago. He was on a football team with Thatcher and Colton, and he's been around Sebastian quite a bit in sports as well. Very positive young man, big smile, really outgoing personality, and so he's a tremendous loss to the community. One of the things I wanted to do was just take a minute and honor his memory. So if we could take just a few seconds and hold a moment of silence, I would appreciate it. Thank you. Next weekend, they're going to hold a memorial for Camden at high school, and they've asked to use the bridges as an area to have a reception after the funeral. So we're going to work on that. I got a hold of the Parks Committee this afternoon, and we'll find a way to do that. So I did touch base with Ben, and there's nothing currently scheduled. So I think we'll find a way to make that happen. I don't think I have anything else there on item number 7. Item number 8, Mr. Jason Anderson. Sorry, heavy topics, right? We went from communications to some very heavy topics there. And so,
a couple things I just wanted to update you folks on. In between this meeting and our previous one, we did have the Transportation Alternative Plan presentation to the South Dakota DOT. Mayor Seeley, myself, Pat Carey, and Harley Ferguson from Southeast Council of Governments provided that presentation. So I did put that in your packet, but I wanted you to be aware. I wanted the community to also be aware of what we're looking at. My understanding is this is a little bit revised from our previous application, and really we're looking at a new route that would come from the existing trail on 7th Street, follow the creek behind the homes and the golf course, and then connect on 3rd Street over by the Catholic Church, and take us to Willow, and then connect back to the existing by the ball fields there by the school. So that was our submittal. We are required to have a commitment of 18% on that project, and that equates to $159,000 of match funds. Grant funds would be $725,000 roughly, for a total project of $885,000 if we receive that. award from the state. They were anticipating somewhere around April for the timeline for awarding that project. Sounds like it's really about a year and a half out from when you're awarded to when funds happen, so we have some conversation there about how to utilize our funds. So, second thing I wanted to just touch base on a little bit was the conversation about the Lewis and Clark Regional Water System expansion project and kind of where we are with that. Elaine and I had some pretty solid conversations with Troy Larson from Lewis and Clark, and then Tom Grimman from Colliers, who's our bonding entity, to learn a little bit about more where we are. We did have a conversation with Jerry about what that looks like. And again, just to recap so everyone's aware, we have committed to be part of that expansion. And what that would do is raise us from roughly 875,000 gallons of capacity a day to 1.384 million once it's all up and operational. We're anticipating that being about 2031. That date sounds weird, but it's not too far away. 2031 is when that'll happen. So we're looking to receive about 509,000 additional gallons a day of water that we can utilize here, or actually look at maybe selling some of that to other needy entities to help offset that cost and look at it as a revenue generation for us. So in order to do that, we're going to have to figure out what we're doing to generate that revenue. And so Elaine and I have started working through some different scenarios. We're going to work with the finance, I don't know the committee name, finance and Larry, Mike, and Pat. We're going to work through kind of some of those scenarios, and then we'll bring it to you guys as a full council so you can all see the options and kind of where we are looking to go with that. So,
Finance and Utilities Committee.
thank you. Anything to add to that, Elaine? Am I missing?
So the first payment though is due February 1st, and it's $335,185. And we're looking at putting a surcharge on everyone's utility bill to cover this.
So one of the things that Troy Larson mentioned to us was that some of those funds allocations or what we're required to pay are pretty fluid right now in like year 3, 4, 5. And so I want to make sure that when we're getting ready to go to a bond sale that we have a little bit more firm calculations in that situation. So I think that's some of the conversations that we're working through with you guys.
Fluid, not in the time, but in what the amount will be.
That's correct. Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to figure
Yeah.
out.
If it makes sense to bond for the entire.
No, I understand that. Like in a row, or could it go be less, or?
So 2026 is set. But then in 2027, you can see that it's a steep decline of 39,660. And that is because they set 26 so that people could start budgeting for it. But then once they worked through the numbers, they found out that 27 was going to be significantly lower. But then if you look down at 2029, that is when construction is going to begin. And 29 and 30 are steep payments, but those are not solid numbers yet.
And this was our initial projection was 3.4 million, along those lines.
So it's already decreased.
Though it did decrease.
Right.
But who's to say what that looks like, right? So I have a little bit of hesitation about going to a full bond amount at this time, and that's kind of like an option with folks. So.
And it's hard to figure out dollar amount when the numbers are so unsure.
Do they anticipate any future grant opportunities that might defray some of that, or they're pretty well tapped that out?
Pretty well committed to where we are.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. You got a question? Yeah.
About that. The TAP grant application for the but for the sidewalks on Willow Street, I live on Willow Street. Would there be any burden to the citizens that live there in the construction of sidewalks?
So there would be some construction that happens there. So where you're looking at right now is actually putting in traditional sidewalk easy. So it wouldn't be the actual full walking path like the 12 foot.
Yeah.
It'd just be a traditional sidewalk.
Yes, I'm aware of that.
Yeah.
And there is already an existing sidewalk on part of Willow Street.
Yep, so this would connect to the remainder of that.
Okay.
Does not happen.
So there wouldn't be that much of a hassle
I-
with the people that live there.
Again, being new, I believe it's mainly that Third Street portion, north of the Catholic Church is where the majority is missing.
Right between the Colony House and
Yep.
the school.
Oh, yeah. Okay, thank you, that's all I have.
Any other questions on that? I think.
Willow's pretty wide. Is there an opportunity to forget the sidewalk and dedicate one side of the street as we do on 13th for a walking or bike path?
Not sure, Larry, if that's ever been a conversation.
Oh, okay. Because it is pretty
This
wide.
plan was submitted.
Yeah, West Willow is. Like
What-
on 13th Street, right? What's that? Like on? Yeah, like on 13th East of West, yeah.
One thing we've come to find out is that if the grant is approved in January, that the flash to bang would be it would be at least more than a year, up to 18 months. And so if there were ways that we could identify cost savings and reduce them, and to Izzy's point, reduce impact to any potential citizens along that route, you can imagine we've been in contact with the Catholic Church and they're in support because they see the opportunity and they understand the intent. So, but yeah, I think those are all things that once we get a green light, then I think it's. Jason, I think to the second point that you briefed, which is about Lewis and Clark, anything we can do to ease the burden of where there would potentially be rate increases to anything that we currently charge our citizens. I know that it's been quite a few years since the Highway 46 surcharge. When was that implemented?
In 2013.
13. Okay, so pre Don and Eli moving to town. I know people still talk about that like it was yesterday because it was a fairly significant bump, and it was hard for people to see the tangible outcomes of the sheer amount of money that they were being asked to pay. And so, getting out in front of that. So, back to one of our earlier points, proactive communication will definitely help. So,
And that's exactly right, Eli. Like, that's why we're looking at some of this and how to phase it in for people that makes sense, but also for us to cash flow it in the correct way, right? So, I think the original Lewis and Clark expired at the end of 26.
Yep, the general obligation
So
fund.
if we apply some of that towards it or whatever that looks like, those are all the scenarios we need to.
And we did budget for that in February, right? Okay. I was thinking, stupid question. Sure. Okay.
Anything else, Jason? No?
Oh, that's it.
Okay. No items under new business, old business. We'll move into item number 10 on the agenda, which is new business. Looks like we have an application for a vacant parcel, 3rd Street.
So Union County reached out to me and stated that this building here is not, or we did not complete the abatement application. So this would be a request to abate it. And then have Mayor Seeley sign the abatement.
Motion to approve the abatement request for 101 South 3rd Street.
Got a motion and a second to authorize application approval of the application for abatement on parcel number 02.01.14.100 South 3rd Street. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Here, request number 7 from Metro Construction for the Bach Housing Development.
So these are some big numbers we've been ready for some pay requests here, but I think that's a positive that action's happening, right? So this is obviously request number 7 from Metro Construction, and is really their large one for the remainder of the fall work they've been doing. So that's in the amount of $555,616.80.
Motion to approve pay request number 7 Metro Construction Incorporated in the amount of $555,616.80.
Motion second on the table to authorize pay request number 7 for Metro Construction Incorporated for the Bach Housing Development in the amount of $555,616.80. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Next item, South 7th Street Utility Extension Change Order number 2, First Street Excavating.
So my understanding from Pat is this is a change order that occurred due to the council wanting to do a little bit more asphalt by the maintenance shed for our Parks and Rec department, and then some dirt work that needed to take place that wasn't an initial bid. So that increased us a total of $58,000 roughly for the entire project.
This is just right around the shed.
Yeah, the cement or the asphalt there on the road.
Okay.
It sounds like we went further than what we initially had planned with that asphalt. Sorry, I don't know much more detail than that.
From the north to the shed.
I think it was between the shed and the original 7th Street. And then they ended up paving.
Oh,
Between the shed and 7th Street.
okay. Not on the street itself.
No, I think the street was intended to go that way. Yeah, I think it was in the cart shed, mud hole.
Right.
In there in 7th Street path, I guess that there, I think that's what the chief.
I believe these were all things talked about.
This is Pat said this is the formal.
What's the exact amount? Change order says 47,000.
Yep.
You said 58.
Total for change orders with 1 and 2.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, so this is change order number what?
Number 2.
Number 2.
Maybe just for
Make a motion for change order number 2. Payment to First Rate Excavate in the amount of $47,258.57.
Motion and second on the table to authorize change order number 2 on the South 7th Street Utility Extension Project from First Rate Excavate in the amount of $47,258.57. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Pay request number 6, final. That's a nice word. I see that. From First Rate Excavate Inc. on South 7th Street Utility Extension in the amount of $36,125.33.
I have much more to add besides this is the final payment according to Pat.
Final payment. Number 6 to First Rate Excavate in the amount of $36,125.33.
Motion second on the table to authorize pay request number 6, final from First Rate Excavate 2 for the South 7th Street Utility Extension Project in the amount of $36,125.33. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Pay request number 6 from Musson Brothers, Beresford Sanitary Sewer Improvements for $970, $842, and 38 cents.
So this is, again, the significant work that's been happening with the sewer project and wrapping up what they have going for the fall. They're still in town. We'll see them around a little bit here, but we have a follow-up meeting tomorrow on planning, and I would anticipate them being close to shutting down for the year.
And how much do we still owe them at after this? 1.6 million?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Else want to pay one of these?
Make the motion to approve it. States Brothers 570-842.38.
Motion second on the table to authorize pay request number 6 for Musson Brothers for the Beresford sanitary sewer improvements in the amount of $970,843.38. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Step pay increase for Mr. Conboone from 25.52 effective 12/11/25.
Move the pay increase for Counter Boom to $25.52 effective December 11th.
I second.
Motion is second on the table to authorize step pay increase for Mr. Conboone to 25.52 effective 12/11/25. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Step pay increase for Ms. Rachel Chapman to 23.68 effective 12/6/2025.
Motion to approve the step pay increase for Rachel Johnson. 2306 to 2368.
I second.
Motion is second on the table to authorize step pay increase for Rachel Johnson up to 23.68 per hour effective 12/6/2025. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Subsidy request allocations.
So on the very first page of the packet is the 2026 community subsidies. When we went through the general fund, we came up with a dollar amount of $75,000 total, but we never finalized everything. So I'm just looking for you to review it one more time and give me those hard numbers. If you look, the senior citizen program had requested 6,000, and we, at our October 30th meeting, put in a number of 4,500. The community education had requested 40,000, and we put in 30,000. The Beresford Baseball Association requested 10,000, and we punched in 8,000. The Cemetery Association asked for 1,500, and we put in 1,000. The Chamber of Commerce Old Fashioned Weekend requested 5,000, and we put in 4,000. The Faith in Action requested 7,000, and we punched in 6,000. All the others were the same as what they requested.
You just said put in the like minus 500 or whatever. Different. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. An additional 500. Okay. Are there any changes you'd like to see? Any questions on any of them? It'd be nice to give them everything they request, but
Yeah, I think with the explosive growth of the subsidy request over the past 3 to 5 years, I think if we internally, obviously we have to evaluate the merits of each one of these requests and understand if there's things that contribute to our mission. We need to do these, i.e. childcare. That's why we left private beginnings at the same amount, but I think we set a cap so that we don't allow for different entities. We want to be able to fund these entities at the same time. We don't want to become their primary funding source.
if everyone agrees or any questions?
Move approval of the subsidy budget as planned during the October 30 council meeting. Second.
We have a motion and second on the table to authorize the subsidy amounts listed in the attached document for the part of the council packet. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Subsidy requests are approved. Enterprise Council 2026 budget review.
So we have two enterprise accounts that we just need to finalize. The first is if you go to the second page of that packet, that is just a summary of all of the enterprise accounts. And then if you turn to the next page, it'll start with the water department expenditures. I'm just going to touch base on a few of the items. If you go to code 42201, which is engineering services, that 45,000 decrease is because the project is complete. And if you go down a couple to 42205, lab testing services, that increased due to required lab testing for next year.
Which 205?
Yep, lab testing services. The testing is being increased substantially.
Top yellow.
This is testing from our incoming water from Lewis and Clark.
And then code 42209, other professional services. This would be the water tower data control portion that increased of $3,660. Jeff was in here and explained the whole SCADA reporting system. And this would just be a portion of that expense. The code 42506 meter repair. He's going to replace 3 meters at the elevator, and they are $2,000 each. If you go to the next page, which I have numbered at page 2, the very top one, the 42531, which is the water tower, he is planning on washing the water tower, the inside of it. It was painted 7 years ago, and so this is just maintenance and upkeep. And so $10,000 will get that project complete. Code 42537, hydrants. He's planning on replacing 2 fire hydrants, and they are $4,500 each. 42649, which is meters. That is a decrease. Just due to his purchasing meters. The pump controls, which is $500 less, was just a trend of where it was going. So if you go to page 3, code 42951, Lewis and Clark added capacity charge. So Mike, this is where that expansion expense is put in there. So that is why there's an increase, or why we're budgeting $335,000 for that. And if you go down a few rows to 43900, miscellaneous fixed assets, this is a huge decrease due to the 7th Street project is done. So in a total, for the water expenditures between 25 and 26, it's $189,272 less. So if we go on to any questions?
So 42531, water tower. It's gonna be washed.
Yeah.
Isn't it full of water right now?
So clean, washed,
Okay.
I guess it's a maintenance.
Okay.
I know.
I think they have to do something with it's scaling or something.
Mhm.
Still gotta do that to your
Yeah. Okay.
Your coffee pot and your
Yeah.
bathroom safe. And, Mhm. I'll bring Jeff in here and give him an explanation.
Oh, that's. I'm not thinking about that.
So moving on to page 4, water department revenue. Code 3813, sales of supplies and materials. It's a decrease of $5,000 just because looking back, it's kind of been an average. And then the Lewis and Clark rural water fees for the dairy 3817, that is reduced by 10,000 just due to an average where we're coming in at every year. Code 3912, sale of bonds and loans. The huge difference is due to the Seventh Street project being done and the new expansion, the Lewis and Clark expansion coming in. So a total difference, less revenue is $69,122 for the water department, and it's mainly due to the Seventh Street project completing and the Lewis and Clark expansion. Any questions on revenue? If you move on to page 5, the Bridges Golf Course, and this is just the outside. This is the actual course itself expenses. If you look at like the insurance, general liability, auto, property, umbrella, inland marine, those numbers all kind of balance out. They're just being shifted to match our current insurance company. And if you go on page 6, code 42404, other rentals. It's decreased due to what the average has been, along with buildings and grounds. Kind of looking at what the average and just decrease that. And other equipment repairs, just looking back, the trend was a lot less, so I lowered all of those. Along with code 42603 for motor fuels, it was trending a lot lower, so I just lowered it down to 6,000. If you go to the final expenses for the outside course on page 7, code 42803, heating, natural gas. This is a new code to cover the shop, the new shop. I don't know what to expect, so I took a building that was similar to it and just punched in that same amount that we budgeted for them. Underneath dues and membership fees, which is code 42925, Jason put in there a South Dakota Golf Course Association conference for $550. And then underneath machinery and auto, we had this discussion quite a while back to purchase one greens mower, and repair the others. And if you go down to 43901 for new construction, that decrease is due to the shop is now finished. And so total for the outside, comparing from 25 to 26, is $141,284 less. Any questions on the outside expense?
Can you get back to 42501 buildings and grounds? What is it? What would that encompass in this line?
So that is
That would have been some siding on the car shed.
yeah. So it would just be like any type of maintenance to all of the buildings. If there's flowers, if there's new lamps that he's putting out, so yeah, the golf, golf cart shed. Yeah, just taking care of the maintenance of all the grounds, like not the course itself.
Sure. All right, thank you.
Considering we have to finish the landscaping, does that fall under something else, or should that be there?
Probably there.
I don't know if 6,000 included that, is it?
Ben's got some too on his side.
Okay.
We're looking to see what his is.
Did Kelly have some of that?
Yeah, 42501 on the clubhouse expenditures. That's the same thing.
Yep.
Okay.
And so the clubhouse has 5,000.
All right.
So between they have $11,000.
Yeah.
Okay, so then if we move to the page 8, this is the Bridges clubhouse expense. So this is the inside the clubhouse. Code 42207, which is credit card fees. I bumped it up to 20,500 because that is the trend that we are going. You turn to page 9. Heating and natural gas, decreased by $400 just because the averages was going that way. Buildings and improvements was decreased by $185,000, and that is because of the patio is complete. And the furniture and office equipment decreased by $12,500 for the same reason. And the remit sales tax and life fee was trending lower, it was trending higher, so I increased those that budget line item to $42,750. So in a total for the Bridges Clubhouse expenses, you were $167,502 less for 26 than 20. Any questions on the clubhouse expenses? So the golf course clubhouse revenue. The 3459, which is daily gas and pull cart trail fees, was trending higher, so I increased it by $27,000. Along with the season pass and green fees, they were trending higher, so I increased them by $18,000 and $32,300. Hopefully we have another good golf season and we can match these numbers. And then if you go down to on sale liquor 3801, that was trending higher, and so we increased that by $18,740. So comparing from 25 to 26, we're looking to bring in $101,375 more. Any questions on the clubhouse revenue? So moving on to the event center expenditures. Going down to code 42503 machinery and vehicles. Ben doesn't use this code anymore or for anything, so we just zeroed it out. So a decrease of $1,000. And the liquor on sale and wine on sale was trending less, so I decreased them. And if you turn to the next page, the beer was also trending a lot less too. However, if we have 1, 2, 3 events that bring in a lot of liquor sales, this may. But just looking back and doing some averages and where we're at today, that's how I came up with the number. The code 42803 heating and natural gas also did an average in what it was trending, and I decreased that by $425. So for the Bridges expense total, between 25 and 26, we are less $4,921.
When did you last meet with Ben? In the last few days? Because there was a discussion a week ago. Okay. Potential changes in some of the potential revenues, so.
So
I think for budgeting purposes, where you just clarify, I think that's okay to keep it lower.
Okay.
With the increase coming.
All right.
Yeah. It'll be a surprise at the end of the year.
Well, I don't know if it reflected some of that discussion or not.
Which I had been.
So the last page, 13, Bridges Event Center revenue. The code 3685 for catering. There has not been anything come in for 25, so I just brought that down to 0. The on sale wine, also the average in what was where we were at today, I decreased that by $150. And the on sale liquor also was decreased by $3,000. So total revenue from 25 to 26 is less $4,950. So if you go back to page 20, at the very bottom, we'll say total revenue $71,050, and then a difference. I took the expenses minus the revenue, and so we're hoping to end 2026 with a positive of $7,420 in the event center. And then if you go to page 7, you see the 2026 budget, you go down to the bottom of $286,800 for the outside expenses. the clubhouse expense of $504,325. Add those two and subtract our estimated revenue of $736,800. We're coming up with a shortfall of $54,325. So hopefully, revenue in the clubhouse can make that, and we can maybe come out at a zero. Does anyone have any questions or additional comments? If everyone is okay with it, I'd like to have a motion to approve and let the department head know that it has been approved.
We're approving the overall
The water and the golf course.
motion to approve the water and the golf course budget for the year 2026.
Motion and second on the table to authorize approval of the water and golf course enterprise accounts budgets for 2026. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Anybody opposed? Motion carries.
I think next year we'll do short meetings with just a couple of the departments instead of seems to be a little bit easier on everybody.
Right, so we have approval site seasonal hours.
I think we need to do the subsidy drawdown request.
Oh, my apologies. We skipped the, okay, subsidy drawdown request. So we got Cemetery Association and the community bus. Can we authorize this in a single motion? We need two separate motions.
Two separate ones.
Okay.
Move approval of the subsidy drawdown for the Beresford Cemetery Association in the amount of $1,500.
Okay.
Motion second on the table to authorize subsidy drawdown request for Beresford Cemetery Association in the amount of $1,500. Any additional conversation? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries.
Move approval of the subsidy drawdown request for Beresford Community Bus in the amount of $6,000.
Second. Motion is second on the table to authorize subsidy drawdown request for the Beresford Community Bus in the amount of $6,000. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. And then Rebel site seasonal hours.
So December is when we go to seasonal hours, which is 9 to 12 on Saturdays. And we'll run that until April, unless also have really nice spring, then we'll maybe look at opening that up a little soon. I don't know, do we need a formal
No,
action on that?
sorry, I skipped ahead of you, Eli.
Yeah, that's all right. That's right. Nope, good FYI stuff. Okay. All right, we'll move to item 11, discussion information items, community calendar. I see that in your information packet, there is a graphic that we're working on to get a QR code out there through the communication channel. So again, I think this helps because this reinforces some of the information we talked about at the beginning of the meeting about communication, getting people back to a single platform. So we'll get this QR code out there as much as possible and try to bring people into the community calendar. Has anybody looked at the community calendar recently?
Yeah, look at what time the community Thanksgiving.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah. Use it.
I do have a point about that. If you click on the link in the website, if you click on the Beresford School District calendar link, it does not provide the right link. So it has to be changed.
Okay. Does that go to, so because is the new one bound or is it?
Yes, it's bound, and then the old one goes to the Dakota Golf Conference, and nothing is on there anymore.
Okay.
So
Do you know who would have that updated link to bound? Is it just bound.com/Beresford or something like that, or? Yeah. If you grab that, just shoot that to me and then I'll get that to the right people and we'll update that. Thank you, man. Yeah, cause, yeah. Did we figure out the color thing where the there's too many events now, which is a good thing. Looks like we can add them all now.
I think so.
Yeah, I like the color.
Like the box is showing up at the bottom.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think we did figure that out.
right. A lot
We
of
just
great
kind of,
activities.
from the last meeting, we just kind of added where we circled the calendar events and added an arrow to
Yeah.
how to request an event, and then just changed the color of the green to match it.
Yeah. Awesome. All right, any questions, any points about the community calendar? Faith in Action, thank you. There is a letter included in our packets from Faith in Action. Would read it. I got it. You're gonna save me from like that. All right, I'll read it real quick. Dear City of Beresford, thank you for your subsidy of $6,000 to Beresford Faith in Action. Will be used to fund many programs. Faith in Action has to help people in our community, and your support is appreciated. We serve 20 to 40 families a week at the food pantry. High school students help us each week by packing 51 backpacks and delivering them to their respective schools. We have over 60 families signed up to pick up supplies for Thanksgiving dinner. In December, over 100 children are signed up to receive gifts donated by the people in our community. Their families receive supplies for Christmas dinner and many everyday cleaning and personal items. We also help with utility support to a few families throughout the year. In the past 12 months, we have helped 25 families with utility assistance. Thanks for your gift to support these valuable programs. Here's for Faith in Action. Awesome. All right, a couple of travel requests to approve.
Travel requests.
Motion second on table to approve the 2 travel requests for SDTA tech workshops. One for Boone Valley and one for Marvin Cooper. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Lucky number 13 on the agenda.
Motion we pay the bills.
Second. Motion second on table to authorize payment of the bills. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? We pay our bills. I'll entertain a motion to enter into executive session for personnel.
Oh, it is, okay. I'll entertain that motion.
Motion second to authorize entrance into executive session for personnel in compliance with South Dakota Codified Law 125-2- subparagraph 4. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries.